Hello and welcome to VC Circle Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Rai. In this episode, we'll be in conversation with Abhishek Bansal, co-founder and CEO of Shadowfax Technologies, the startup which was founded in 2015 by Abhishek, where Khandelwal, Praharsh Chandra and Gaurav Chaitliya provides end-to-end logistics solutions to various businesses. Shadowfax has attracted a slew of venture capital investors along the way. Last year, the company raised $60 million as part of its Series D funding round, and as part of this transaction, Flipkart also invested. Hello Abhishek, welcome to our podcast and thank you for speaking with us.
Hey Joseph, good to be here and thanks for inviting me over here. Yeah.
So we'll speak about how the investment from Flipkart has played out in a bit, but let me begin by asking you to tell our listeners briefly about Shadowfax and how is it different from other players in the market given that we have seen a significant venture capital interest in the space.
Yeah. So Shadowfax, we started 5 years back. Shadowfax is today India's largest crowdsourced logistics company, where today we deliver hot food, grocery, FMCG, e-commerce, and within e-commerce, apparel, electronics, and you can talk about any sort of a category. From anywhere to anywhere is how we like to position it. So we started as a last mile logistics company where we have a deep expertise in anything and everything which is getting delivered to the end customer. Over a period of time in the last 5 years, we have built our capabilities, becoming more like an end-to-end 3PL provider with, again, a lot of focus on just bringing customer delight at the last mile side of it. As I pointed out, I think one of the biggest differentiators for us as a model is that this is a pure play crowdsourced model. So we don't have any fixed asset. This is a completely asset-light model where today we have probably hundreds and thousands of freelancers who work on our platform, who make money and who go back home, like depending upon the choice that in terms of how much work they want to do in the day. So that way, it's a very cost-effective, highly efficient model where probably we try to bring in a lot of financial inclusion into the picture for all these crowdsourced entrepreneurs or micro-entrepreneurs, as we like to call it. Another way, I think the way we want to differentiate, or the way we have been differentiating our services in the logistics ecosystem out there, is on two very specific aspects. One thing is our focus on speed of delivery. So Shadowfax today is the only logistics provider who can actually deliver to your doorstep, picking up from a merchant or from a warehouse, right from within 30 minutes to probably within a few hours to within same day or next day, depending upon where the pickup and the destination points are. We are we are the only third-party logistics who have this capability right now. The second point where we do a big differentiation today is bringing a lot of criticality into the logistics element. So when I talk about criticality, it is basically bringing a lot of customization at the customer doorstep. So I'll give you a few examples. So one of the key examples would be, for example, we have the capability to do a slot delivery. A slot delivery is, as a customer, you can choose that I want an order between this hour and this hour, and we can deliver it for you. And in a 3PL ecosystem, we are probably the only ones who have this slot delivery capability, and we use it big time when we deliver FMCG, when we do seller delivery, when we do grocery delivery, where this requirement is very, very of paramount importance. The second way in which we look at criticality of a shipment is when, let's say, there is a return that is happening, or when there is, like, say, a quality check that you need to do at a customer doorstep, when you probably need to do an exchange sort of a model at a customer doorstep. So all these things where there is a high touch sort of a model where you want to provide a very customized sort of an experience is where we like to play in. So if I were to call it, I mean, the three differentiators about us, it's speed, it's criticality, and then obviously it is the cost element which brings in because of the crowdsourcing that we bring in.
Cool. So tell us about the impact of the coronavirus on the company and some of the measures it took to handle the crisis.
I think coronavirus, I would believe like it's been probably something which is unprecedented for every industry, everywhere that you could think of. Corona, I mean, the way it started, the lockdowns, everything, it became very important for us to be present because we also play a very significant role in doing essential delivery. So essential delivery is delivery of medicine, delivery of groceries. And what we saw was there was like in those lockdown periods, there was a definite spike and everybody like probably reaching out to us in terms of understanding how we can help them in this sort of a model. How can organized logistics set it up? Because in every area that you need to operate in during the lockdown times, you needed police permissions, you needed a lot of regulatory alignment to operate. And thankfully, we were able to do that. And we were able to actually help a lot of brands during that particular time. And it was a pretty, I would say it was a very adventurous sort of a time for us in those couple of months, but happy the way it turned out eventually, and how we I think we were able to help some of the brands and the people who work with us. Overall, I think if I look at COVID on a more macro level, see, even today, going out and shopping is not considered a normal, even like 7, 8, 10 months down the line. And like people feel that probably shopping at home is going to be the way forward. And we believe that this is a big change in the mindset of both the customers as well as the brands. Today, every brand that we are talking to is talking about omni-channel experience, talking about how can they probably service a customer sitting at the doorstep, sitting at their probably within the homes, and like shopping in a very safe environment. I think the Corona has definitely brought forth probably the e-commerce revolution or the shop at home revolution, which was anyways happening in India, but it has just like probably taken this revolution a couple of years ahead of time.
Okay. And has the company's business reached pre-COVID levels for you all?
Yeah. I mean, we are in a business where we are actually, customers definitely are reaching out to us more. So we have actually grown about 70% versus our pre-COVID peak numbers. So we have shown a significant amount of growth as a business per se during the COVID time. Then you can expect that, given, people are sitting at home and ordering from various companies today, be it like food, be it grocery, e-commerce. There was a lot of pent-up demand as well, but I think we have grown significantly post-COVID.
Shadowfax, we understand, is present in more than 500 cities, covering more than 7,000 PIN codes. What is your game plan for expansion, and what are some of the regions you'd like to enter or consolidate your position in?
I think, India, if we look at, there are two aspects to our expansion. Okay. One is basically the horizontal expansion, where from the 7,000 PIN codes, we essentially want to go to the 18,000-20,000 PIN codes that this country has. Okay. That's more like the horizontal expansion. If I talk about vertical expansion, today, not all of our services are present in every PIN code. And again, our services are a function of the customer demand as well. So we believe that taking our services to every possible PIN code, even within the existing set that we are present in, and gaining market share is going to be significant. And that's what probably we are looking at today.
The logistics market has seen a slew of VC deals, and some of the startups, including Shadowfax, who have received VC money, have scaled up. Do you see consolidation happening in the space? Interesting question, I would say. I think there are different kind of players in the market. There are different legs of logistics activity which is happening in the market today. From what we are seeing is that there is actually a lot of money that has come in, and there is more money that is getting offered to the logistics company, because especially during or post the COVID times, people are seeing more value of the third-party logistics. Right now, we are in a stage where we are seeing more capital, more investors than we were probably seeing in the pre-COVID era. So, consolidation is going to happen, but it will probably be happening at least 3 to 4 years or 5 years down the line. I think right now, there is enough scope for everyone to grow in and basically create meaningful business and disrupt the way some of these logistics aspects are happening in India. If you look at the overall logistics macro, and the way we track it from a India perspective, today only 30% of the logistics is happening through third-party logistics companies, 3PL companies, and 70% is either being done in-house or it is done through the unorganized players. Now, what COVID will change is this 30% will become 50%. And if you look at the overall size of the Indian logistics market, if you go through such a big fundamental change, the market for us is going to be massive. And when there is such a massive market on offer, maybe consolidation might happen. Like if there's any consolidation also on the card, I think it'll just get delayed by a few years, because everyone will have the opportunity to actually capture it and show significant amount of growth.
Okay. But do you expect to make small acquisitions of smaller players in the market right now? What is the scope there?
From an acquisition point of view, see, it's a very opportunistic way the way we look at deals or the way we evaluate deals. So if there is something which comes in which adds a lot of value and something which helps us fast track some of our initiatives, we will look to do that. But we don't run a super active M&A conversation where we are always looking out for deals like an VC investor. I don't think we do that right now.
Okay. Interesting. So Flipkart was one of the investors in Shadowfax as part of its Series D funding round last year. So although you already had a partnership with the e-commerce firm earlier as well, right? So we were told then that Flipkart's investment will be able to further unlock the opportunities in grocery and fresh produce in a segment, which in fact played out well for you because of the COVID. Now, if you could detail a little bit on how this has grown and how do you see this growing partnership?
Yeah. I think the Flipkart and the Walmart partnership overall is a very long-term sort of a growth opportunity and a strategic conversation for us. We are really happy to have them working with us in a very strategic, long-term sort of a manner. And I think given the way Walmart views their India operations, especially Flipkart and everything, they have a very, very long-term sort of an approach towards this market, which is a great thing for us. Overall, I think the larger impact of the conversation will happen in years to come, but we have already started seeing like good amount of, synergies between both the businesses. As I pointed out early, I think one of the big focus today for someone like a Flipkart is how do you increase the speed of delivery? How do you get things delivered from the merchant to the customer in the fastest possible time? I think Flipkart has gone ahead and launched their Flipkart Hyperlocal service where Shadowfax is an exclusive partner today. And we deliver their products within 90 minutes, picking up from a seller, picking up from a dark store, picking up from various points in the city and just getting it like within 90 minutes to a customer. And this is something Flipkart never did before. I think this is a speed offering which we are able to bring to the table today with them.
Okay, interesting. And what do you think are the factors that will, drive your next round of funding?
I think we are in a growth stage right now. I think our next round of funding usually depends on where we want to invest that capital and how we are growing and what is the profitability in which we are growing today. As you could see, like we are growing at a phenomenal pace. And we are actually running it in a very profitable manner given we are an asset-light organization. So we are not actively raising capital per se, but it depends on where you want to invest. So I think there are a lot of capex investments. There are a lot of things that we are looking to do in the near future that might drive some sort of fundraising activity for us. But I mean, nothing immediately right now that we can talk about.
Okay. You actually, said that you're running in a profitable manner. If you could give some color on the kind of revenues that you expect to do in this particular fiscal, because your business definitely received tailwinds and, a little bit of color on the operating and a profit as well.
Yeah. I mean, last year we would have grown close to 100% or even 115% to be very precise on a year-on-year basis. This year, despite the COVID blip in the first 3 to 4 months, we still expect to grow another 70 to 80% versus the last year. And so I think that's broadly the way we are looking at some of the, from the top line growth perspective.
Okay. Cool. All right, Abhishek, thank you for speaking with us. It was great talking to you. And that's all we have in this edition of VC Circle podcast. Thank you all for listening. Take care and goodbye.